Hey everyone. Lately I've noticed a trend with single women. What they're doing is not thinking ahead. They're not planning 2 or 3 steps ahead in their dating life. And it's really essential that you do. Now, I'm not talking about planning your marriage the minute you have a new chat with a new guy online. That is not it at all. We absolutely do not want to be doing that. But you have to think ahead to what they're thinking and where things might lead. So it's one thing to be super friendly in your normal life and have friends over and people you don't know very well and maybe workmates or somebody you just met. But when it comes to dating, you just can't do it. You don't know these guys and you don't know who they really are, because sometimes these guys are trying to get laid. And you might be trying to get laid too, but you don't know what lengths they'll go to do that. And that could be being a very different person online to what they are in person. So they could be putting on a bit of a facade so they can earn your trust and get over to your house, and then all sorts of things can happen. I'm not going to go into the details. We're grown-ups, we know what can happen. The problem there is that sometimes it can be what you don't want or what you don't want at the time, and therefore you are there with a guy in your house with no witnesses, and that leaves you in a very precarious situation. In a less serious way, it can mean that some guy is inviting himself over to your house all the time, whenever he feels like it, because he feels comfortable with you, because you invited him. Like, she's happy for me to be here, but you're not interested in him anymore, or you were not that interested in the first place, you were just being friendly, or because you're so used to inviting people over in your normal life that you just did in dating, and then you're left with this guy hanging around your house who you don't want there. And maybe you've met somebody else, and maybe it's getting a bit complicated. Maybe it gets a bit difficult for you to say to this guy, hey, I don't want you here anymore. And that can really go against your personality. But it's really essential that you be careful, that you make smart decisions. These are really life decisions, but you have to focus them down in dating and be even more careful. Because sometimes our desires and our want for a boyfriend can overshadow our brain. Do you know what I mean? You can be doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do. You can be hearing things from a guy that in normal life you might be like, why would he say that to me? But in dating you're like, oh, isn't he sweet? Oh, he sounds really nice. He sounds really genuine. Oh, he sounds like he wants exactly what I want. Well, let's go back to that another time, but it's probably because you told him what you want. And of course he's going to say the same things because he wants to get into your pants. So just be really, really careful about what you say and what you do. Think 2 or 3 steps ahead. If you think, oh, okay, could this lead to somewhere bad? Then don't do it. Really, I know it's boring. I know it sounds really like not fun at all, but you have to look after yourself. You can still date, you can still have fun, and in fact, you would actually be dating. You'd actually be going out on dates, which is what you should be looking for in the first place. You shouldn't be looking for any sort of home dates. Even if you're looking for friends with benefits, which I fully endorse if that's what you're looking for, especially short term while you're trying to sort your shit out, you go for gold, girl. But you still need to meet out in a public place, because you don't know this guy. You really don't. And I personally, I want to know that a guy respects me and trusts me and listens to my opinions and will respect me when I say, hey, I don't like it. I can figure out all that by meeting him in a bar. And even before we even get to that, if he's all about the sex in conversation, then I don't want it. Because even when I'm doing a friends with benefits type thing with him, I want it to be comfortable and I want to be able to talk to him. I don't want to feel like I can't say to him, I don't like this or I don't like that, or I really don't like you texting me only at midnight, or I really don't like you doing this or that. I want to know, because I've set it up this way, that I can say whatever I want whenever I want. And sometimes if you do it the other way around, if you only have them come to your house, then you have compromised yourself a little bit, which is not good for you. No way. If you're looking for a friends with benefits situation, you have to be super clever. You cannot just invite guys to your house. That is not a smart thing to do. Always go out for a drink, always meet them somewhere else. try to minimize the amount of talk about sex. It doesn't work for you. It's not good for you. Even though you're just having sex with this guy, and you shouldn't be trying to make a friend of him, by the way. You should be keeping conversation to a minimum during the week. There shouldn't be a lot of chit chatter, shouldn't be a lot of texting, no morning text, no night text, none of that shit. But you want to make sure that the guy that you're going to let into your life, into your body, is somebody who respects you. And you need to be able to say, whoa, at any time, and he needs to stop. Same thing for him. He needs to know that you're going to listen to him, and you will stop doing whatever he doesn't want you doing. So it goes both ways. By meeting on mutual ground, that means that you set that up properly and you don't allow yourself to be compromised in any way, because friends with benefits is already a compromised situation. So you want to make it work to your advantage as best as possible.